Yo, what is going on, you guys? It's your boy King Sanders here, and we are back with a prediction video. What this basically is I'm going to be predicting all 30 NBA teams and kind of where they're going to rank at the end of the year. The standings. I'm going to go through the playoffs too, and like say who I think is going to be seeded where, who I think is going to win each round, who I think is going to win the championship, and then eventually I will go into Finals MVP as well. So this is probably going to be a pretty long video, so I'm not going to sit there and make a super long introduction for it. And this is 1,000% non-biased. This is just based off of what I've seen in the first couple of games, and with the additions that they added in the offseason. This is just what I'm going off of. So we are going to go ahead and start with the non-playoff Eastern teams. That's the way that we're going to do it. So I'm going to go 9 through 15. Or no, I'll do reverse order. I'll do reverse order just so you guys can see who's the worst team, and I'll just go up from there. So I think that the worst team in the East will still be, or will, I don't know if they technically were last year. I guess I didn't really fact check that, but one of the worst teams, and I think is going to be the worst record team this year, is going to be the New York Knicks. The only thing that they really did in the offseason was add Obi Toppin. I think R.J. Barrett is still a good player. I think Julius Randle's a pretty serviceable big. But I just don't think that it's going to be enough to bring them anywhere near playoffs. I really don't. I don't have too much to say about the Knicks. They didn't really do much. Maybe if they made more changes or whatever, it would be a little different. But as of right now, they didn't do much, and they haven't really played very well in the first couple games. I think they did win one, but yeah, haven't done much. So can't. And Obi Toppin's looking good, but he's not looking like a guy that can carry all that weight on his back. So okay, that was a long one. Sorry. Number 14 is actually going to be the Pistons. I feel like the Pistons kind of goes without saying. They do have Derrick Rose, who's going to put up probably 20 plus off the bench every night for you. And then Blake Griffin, who is still a pretty good big guy. Then they just got their rookie Killian Hayes, who hasn't played super well, but he's got a lot of potential. I feel like he is he's just kind of nervous right now. You can tell. He kind of did get thrown into a starting position on a really bad team, and he genuinely has, like he's already kind of that guy. And so I get where he's coming from, and I hope that eventually he kind of shakes this off. I'm hoping tonight he does, actually. He's got a pretty good, he's got a very high upside, considering that Derrick Rose and Blake Griffin are both out. I'm hoping that tonight's the night he can really step into that next level. I feel like number 13 is going to be the Magic. The Magic are looking better. I know that they're like 3-0 right now, and usually they do end up making the playoffs. But let's be honest, the league is just a lot more competitive now. I feel like, and I definitely could be wrong about this. They could be one of the teams playing for the play-in game, and I could 1,000% be wrong. And I hope that I am, for their sake, and I hope for the Magic fans, I hope that I am wrong. But I just feel like they're going to be at number 13. We still don't know a whole lot about Fultz. Fultz has been actually a little bit better than what he was before. I know DJ Augustine is kind of battling some injuries and whatnot right now, but he's actually been a pretty good point guard. So he's been pretty good. Terrence Ross has actually popped off. Vucevic was kind of a letdown last night, but he's been okay. Aaron Gordon's been battling some injuries, so I just feel like injuries are kind of going to get in the way of that team. But I do still think they'll be a decent team. They'll be a team that'll probably make the games close almost every night, unless they're facing one of the top tier teams. That's just kind of where I'm putting it for right now. 12, I have the Bulls. The Bulls still suck. They're still not going to be very good. I just feel like Kobe White is taking that next level this year. I feel like he's going to be probably like over 20 points and probably like 7 assists type of guy. Zach LaVine is still going to get you 20 to 30 points a night. And then we have Patrick Williams. Patrick Williams is looking very bright. I love pretty much everything about Patrick Williams' game. Just needs to work on his three-point shot just a little bit, and he'd actually be a super good player. So I like Patrick Williams a lot. Finally getting Otto Porter off the bench is right where we want him. Markkanen's actually starting to take some shots. We actually We were playing against the Warriors last night, and you guys are getting this on the. You guys will get this on the 29th. So I guess on the 27th, the Bulls played the Warriors, and the Warriors won by Damian Lee hitting a game-winning shot. Otherwise, the Bulls would have beat the Warriors. So they're looking positive. I mean, obviously the Warriors aren't like the best team ever, but they're still a pretty decent team, and they have Steph Curry, who's an amazing tier point guard. So I can't really argue with that. So I think they're going to be 12. I think 11 is going to be the Cavs. I feel like the Cavs are going to be higher than all of these teams due to the fact that Isaac Okoro was actually a great addition, or at least it's looking like it, because Garland and Sexton, they don't play a lick of defense. They don't. Phenomenal scorers. I would take Sexton and Garland in a lot of situations. They're very, very good scorers of the basketball. They just don't play defense. So Isaac Okoro really helps out with that. They have Drummond still. They have Kevin Love still. They picked up, I think, JaVale McGee. So they've got some pieces to be a pretty decent ball club. And I think they're 3-0 right now in the East. So I don't know. I could be wrong about that one too. And who knows? We might see the Cavs in the playoffs. But I'm just going with my gut, and I think that they'll be right around the 11th seed. Now, I don't know how many teams actually get into the play-in game, but I think it's the 8th seed, the 9th seed, and the 10th seed. I could totally be wrong about that, and I would have to double check. But I'm just going to say, for the sake of this video, that it's 8, 9, 10. That's the play-in games. So in the play-in games, I feel like it's going to be the Hornets at number 10. The Hornets are an interesting team because they didn't get a lot better. They still have a lot of the same rosters, and they have Devontae Graham still. They have Terry Rozier still, and for some reason they went and drafted a point guard. Now it is LaMelo Ball, and obviously all the hype was around LaMelo Ball, and he's honestly got a high ceiling. I mean, he's like a 6 foot something point guard, and so I think I want to say like 6'7". So he's got a lot of upside. He just can't really score the ball very well right now. As soon as he learns how to do that, he'll be a very good player. And then they added in Gordon Hayward, which was a huge W. So I'm very happy about the Hornets. I feel like they'll be number 10. Number 9, I have the Pacers. Most of the time, the Pacers do make the playoffs. I just feel like they're still battling through injury, and the East honestly got a lot better, especially towards the top. So I just don't foresee them making the playoffs, or if they do, it'll be because of the play-in game. I don't see them going any higher than this. I feel like they'll be just a shy under like 500, but I don't know. I don't foresee them going any higher. And they didn't really make a whole. I don't even think they made any moves. Sabonis looks like he's taken a step forward, but that's about it. Number 8, I have the Wizards. I mean, what can I really say? I mean, the Wizards, I don't know. I know they started off 0-3, but let's be honest. Let's think about their team for a second. I mean, they have Russell Westbrook, who any given season could carry a team to the playoffs if he has to. They have Bradley Beal, who is an absolute bucket. I love Bradley Beal. He's a hell of a scorer. They have Denny Avdia, who is actually a really good shooter. Everyone was very concerned about his shooting, but he is doing just fine. He's actually a hell of a player, to be honest, especially at the 3-guard spot. They have Bertans, who just got paid. They have Thomas Bryant still. They've got some good pieces, and I genuinely feel like they're going to be at the lower end of the bracket, but I definitely think that they're going to make it. So 7, I have the Heat. I know that they made the playoffs last year. I know that they didn't make very many moves. I know that they are still going to be a very good basketball team, and I could be wrong about this. And for a lot of people's sake, I do hope that I'm wrong. I hope that I'm wrong. But I just genuinely feel like, I mean, Bam Adebayo is a really good player, but Dragic is adding another year to his resume. I think that Jimmy Butler is going to do his thing, but he still can't shoot very well. I feel like Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson are good, but they're not going to carry a team all the way to the playoffs. They're just not. And then their role players are like Myers Leonard, um, Kelly Olynyk, and I just don't feel like that's going to take it any higher than like the 7th or 6th seed with how stacked the East is. So, I don't know. Number 6, I have the Hawks. The Hawks made a lot of moves in the offseason. They went ahead and picked up Rondo. They obviously got Capella last year. They picked up Bogdanovich, which was honestly a really good pickup. They picked up Gallinari for their bench. Like, they are a deep team now. They have Chris Dunn, but I think he had like some sort of surgery or something for his ankle, or I don't know. I didn't get to all the details on it. I haven't really paid attention to it too much. And they still have Trae Young. They're going to be a very good team. They have Kevin Huerter still, DeAndre Hunter, Cam Reddish. Like, they're just a very, very complete roster. I feel like they're definitely going to go right around 500, just because they are going to try to figure out how, like, the team kind of meshes together, kind of figure out all that stuff. So I feel like they're going to be number 6. Number 5 is the Raptors for me. Raptors didn't make any moves. They didn't really do a whole lot, but at the same time, they've still got Kyle Lowry. They've still got Siakam. They still got Van Fleet, who was kind of... We weren't sure if he was going to come back. He was saying he wanted to go to the Knicks. He was saying, or maybe the Knicks just offered him something. I can't remember. But he was wanting to get a lot of money. And the Raptors ended up paying him for that. They lost Marc Gasol, of course, but... I don't feel like it's going to be that big of a deal. Chris Boucher actually came in and has been playing really, really well. And let's be honest, the Raptors try really, really hard all the time. They are a very scrappy team that they try really hard in the regular season. So, in all honesty, I feel like they're going to be 5. I can't really put them too much lower than that. I can maybe put them at 6, maybe put the Hawks at 5, or put them at... The lowest I can put them is 7. And put the Heat at 6, Hawks at 5, but I mean, I feel like they're definitely going to be in that tier. They're not going to be terrible, so they're definitely going to make the playoffs no matter what, but they're not going to be a top team either, so they're just going to be shoved kind of right in the middle. Number 4, I have the Celtics. I genuinely feel like the Celtics are a very good team in regards to young talent. They still have Marcus Smart. They have Jason Tatum, who's obviously a rising star. They just picked up Tristan Thompson. They have Kemba Walker still, obviously. So, excuse me. Sorry about that. But they still have they got Tristan Thompson. They still have Kemba Walker. And they've still just got some good pieces off their bench. I think Jason Tatum's going to have a breakout year this year, and it's going to be kind of scary. I mean, I feel like he's definitely going to lead them to a very high seed. So I can't really, I mean, I could maybe drop them 5, but like I can't go any lower than that. Maybe drop them once. Number 3, I have the Bucks. I know that probably a lot of people are kind of looking at me like that, you know, and I get it. The Bucks, they really try in the regular season. They try to get that high seed. They picked up Drew Holiday, and so they got some help. They really did. They made good moves in the offseason. I was happy about what they did, but these top 2 teams, they made trades and they made pickups that just put them over the top for me. So I feel like the Bucks will be fine as long as Giannis does his thing, but I mean, he's not looking good in the first 3 games, but I don't foresee them going any lower than 3. They're still going to be a very good ball club, so I can't put them any lower. 2, I have the 76ers. 76ers, I feel like, are going to be a very, very good team, with their additions of Seth Curry and their additions of Danny Green. I mean, those are great pickups. Let's be honest. Ben Simmons' issue is he can't shoot. So you have a top, I'd say probably top 2 center in the league because I'd say he's right behind Jokic, just barely. But so you have a top 2 center. You have like a 6'10" point guard, and then you have a whole bunch of shooters and defensive players around him. That's what literally, like, it's the perfect system. It really is. I feel like it's going to go very well as soon as they all figure out how to play with one another. I just feel like it'll take a little bit. I feel like these first couple of weeks it might be a little tough, but after that I feel like it's going to skyrocket, and 76ers are going to be up at the top. So, yeah, I feel like 76ers are going to go 2. And obviously, Nets number 1. I mean, what can I say? Kyrie and Kevin Durant, that duo is just fucking... It's literally disgusting. Such a great duo. And they are coming out for blood. They are. I mean, Kevin Durant, we haven't even... So, let's just take this into consideration. Or, like, let's just look at this, all right? So, we haven't even seen a breakout game from Kevin Durant yet. And on opening night, he put up like 15 in the first quarter. So, he's putting up great games every single night. And we haven't even seen like a true breakout game from him yet. We haven't. Like, if you watch him, you can tell that he's still trying, you know? But he's definitely not giving it his all. And he could easily drop 30 almost every single night. Like, it's absolutely disgusting. So, I mean, that was an easy pick for me. The Nets definitely go number 1. They have Kyrie, who's absolutely really good. They have Karis LeVert coming off the bench, who's really good. Spencer Dinwiddie, I just heard, has something wrong with his ACL, I think, which is obviously not good, but just in a healthy sense. They have him, they have DeAndre Jordan, they have Jared Allen, they have Taurean Prince, who's actually a pretty good role player. So they're rolling. They're rolling. They got all the pieces, so they're easily my number 1 pick. So now we'll go into the Western side. Western side, obviously number 15, gonna be the Thunder. They're god awful. Their only good player is Shea. Their next best option is like 40-something-year-old Al Horford. Like, that dude is old, not very good. They lost pretty much everything. They're starting Darius Bazley. I think Lou Dort is a starter. Who actually, I mean, I guess he's a good shooter, but like, if you're starting like Lou Dort in, like, I don't know, they're just a mess. They're an absolute mess. They've lost pretty much everything for draft capital, so I don't know. Number 14 is the Kings for me. See, the Kings are kind of an interesting team. I know that they drafted a pretty decent player, but they didn't really do much, and they were pretty bad last year, so I feel like they'll be bad again this year. I feel like De'Aaron Fox is kind of the reason why that team stays together, and isn't like a complete tank team like the Thunder are, because De'Aaron Fox is a hell of a player. He really is, but at the same time, it's not going to be enough. It's just not. I mean, they're going to be in the top or the bottom 3 like teams for sure. Number 13, I have the T-Wolves. I know a lot of people will probably think that's low, but in all seriousness, the Western Conference got a hell of a lot better, like an extreme amount better. So I have the T-Wolves at 13 because they have D'Angelo Russell, who's a pretty good point guard. They picked up Anthony Edwards, who has a lot of upside, and he actually has played really well. I think he dropped 15 the other night in his starting role. And then they still have Karl Anthony Towns, who's one of the best centers in the league. I don't really need to say too much about Karl Anthony Towns. His defense just isn't really there. But they just didn't make enough moves to be able to, be a playoff team in my eyes. Number 12 is the Grizzlies. And like I said, the Western Conference has been freaking stacked. Like, the Western Conference is so damn good that it really makes it, like, it was really hard for me to pick this list. But I got 12 as Grizzlies because Ja Morant is a dog. Absolutely phenomenal player. but if you look at the rest of the roster, that's it. They're starting Grayson Allen as of right now. They I'm trying to. Dylan Brooks is getting a lot of minutes, and Jonas Valanciunas is an okay center. I don't mind Joe Val. I feel like he's a pretty good center. And I feel like Jaren Jackson Jr. just needs to get his rebounding better. As soon as he does that, I feel like he'll be a really good player. But it's just they just don't have enough help, and that's at the end of the day. That's all it's going to be. I feel like Ja is going to put up crazy numbers this year. I'm thinking probably 25, 7, and 6 probably per game. I feel like he's going to put up hella good numbers, but at the same time, it's not going to be enough. At 11, I have the Spurs. The Spurs have actually been playing extremely well as of late, and they just have some absolute weapons that I did not foresee happening. I truly didn't. I'll be honest. I thought that the Spurs were going to be a very bad team this year. They didn't do anything at all in the offseason, and or even like anything. And I just thought that they were going to be bad, but watching them has really changed my mind. I feel like DeJounte Murray is actually a really good player. I feel like he's going to be a walking triple-double, kind of like a Westbrook type guy, except I feel like DeJounte Murray can already shoot better than that. So that makes it kind of interesting. They have Derek White coming off the bench, who's actually a pretty good point guard. They still have DeMar DeRozan. They have Keldon Johnson. I'd never heard of this guy in my entire life, but Keldon Johnson is an absolute dog. He puts up very, very good numbers. I love just pretty much everything that he has done so far. Keldon Johnson has been just really, really good. I'm really happy about him. And then they have... Oh boy, I'm drawing a complete blank. I think they still have Aldridge, who's he's good. He's nothing too crazy, and he's starting to get on his decline, of course, and he's probably been on it for the past couple years. But they got a pretty good team. They play extremely well together. They haven't made any changes, so their chemistry's got to be pretty high. I like where the Spurs are at. So that's 11 for me. I just can't put them any higher either. 10, I have the Warriors. Yes, this is what I'm talking about. I mean, this West is so good. They are so good that I think that the Warriors will be in a play-in game. For the Warriors, the issue with them is that Clay got injured. I mean, I'm going to be honest. Clay got injured, and it really messed up that team. Wiggins would probably be fine off the bench, but Wiggins is so inconsistent, it's not even funny. On top of that, Oubre is just out of control. He just, I don't know, I was watching that team, and they're everywhere. Maybe once Draymond Green gets back, it'll help them out a little bit. I don't foresee it helping them too much. So they have Draymond Green, I guess, and Wiseman's looking like a very good player. I like the way Wiseman plays. I feel like he's definitely got a good shot at Rookie of the Year. But I mean, they're just okay. I mean, Steph is obviously doing his thing. He's a great player, but I can't go any higher than this. I can't. Because at number 9, I have the Blazers. The Blazers are much more well-rounded of a team with players that are actually going to try and actually going to play very well. They have Damian Lillard, obviously, who's a hell of a player. They have CJ McCollum, who's starting to show up. I'm not going to give him too much credit yet because late last year he kind of gave up and was just very, very bad. They have Yusuf Nurkic still, who's a hell of a player. They have Zach Collins still. They have Robert Covington still. They have Carmelo, except for I think he's injured right now, but they have Carmelo. I mean, they have a very, very good roster. And they're just going to keep getting better. And they added in Robert Covington, who is a 3-and-D guy on one of the worst defensive teams in the entire league. So now you add in good defense onto a team that was already offensively electric. I mean, I mean, they're just making moves. They're making moves in the right direction, and I feel like they'll be at number 9. Number 8, I have the Rockets. Rockets are falling apart. If you guys have known me for a long time, James Harden is my favorite player. He hasn't been lately. James Harden hasn't been my favorite player lately. I don't like all the drama that he's causing, but he's still a hell of a basketball player. He really is. Opening night puts up 44 and 17. I mean, you really can't argue with that. He's a great player. Christian Wood is actually a very good big man. We saw that in the season opener as well. Hell of a player. I love Christian Wood. Think it was a great pickup. I feel like DeMarcus Cousins is going to be a great addition as well. I feel like John Wall's a good addition once they're all out of COVID. I just, it's not going to be enough. It's not. I just don't foresee them being very high seeded this year. I could maybe push them up to 7, but for now, I genuinely have them at the 8 seed. 7 seed, I have the Jazz. The Jazz, as you guys know, try super hard in the regular season. They try to get decent seeds. They try to win. They still have a very good team. I feel like Donovan Mitchell's getting even better. I feel like Rudy Gobert is still a very good player. And they overall have some good pieces. I mean, they have Joe Ingles. They have Bogdanovich. I mean, they're a very good, well-rounded team. I mean, you can't really go wrong with the Jazz, and they're going to try on defense. They are a very good defensive team, and that is what today's NBA needs, because there's not a lot of defense being played and a lot of offense. So now you add in a super good defensive team to try to basically combat that, and it's really nice. It's really nice, and I feel like that they will be the 7th seed. 6th seed, I have the Pelicans. I know the league has gotten so good. It just makes it very hard, just in general, to make these type of videos. It's hard because the league is just so good right now. There's so many good players, so many good teams, that it is genuinely difficult for me to do this. But I'm going with the Pelicans. The Pelicans went ahead and added Eric Bledsoe, which was actually a pretty good pickup. They still have Lonzo Ball. Brandon Ingram is an absolute bucket. Zion Williamson is obviously a hell of a good player. And then they added in Steven Adams. They completed their roster of their starting 5, because last year they were lacking a center. I think they were... Who did they have last year? Derek Favors, I think. And you can't play Derek Favors as your starting center. You really can't. Like, it's not possible. You just can't play that. So I really like what the Pelicans have done. And then obviously my favorite rookie, if you guys have talked to me about the draft at all, my favorite rookie is Kira Lewis Jr. I feel like he's not going to get a whole lot of minutes just because they do have Lonzo and Eric Bledsoe. But if he does get minutes, hey, he's a bucket. So he could definitely add him to that team as well. They're just deep, and they have Josh Hart, and they're a good team. There's nothing else to say about that. 5th seed, I have the Suns. I feel like the Suns didn't really make a whole lot of moves, which they definitely should have picked up a power forward. But they have Chris Paul. Chris Paul is one of the smartest basketball players in the entire league, a great player, and he led that Thunder team that was absolutely terrible last year, or at least in my opinion. I thought they were bad. I didn't think that they would be a very good team at all. I'd say they were serviceable. I figured they'd be just outside the playoffs, but he actually led them to a very good record. So I guess I shouldn't say very good, but he led them to a good record, and very good for what everyone thought that they were going to be. So I think that Chris Paul just genuinely makes teams a heck of a lot better than they were before. And let's be honest, this team was very good before. Devin Booker is just... I love Devin Booker. He is just absolutely crazy. Love Devin Booker. DeAndre Ayton's actually a really good, serviceable big man. They added in Cam Johnson. Well, I guess Cam Johnson was in last year, but I think he's even better this year. They still have Sarge. They still have Frank Kaminsky. They still have... some players off the bench that can get the job done. So I really like the Suns and where they're at. Number 4, I have the Mavericks. The reason I have the Mavericks at 4 is mostly because of the fact that they added in Josh Richardson. They added in defense. Because Luka doesn't really play a whole lot of defense. Luka is going to put up phenomenal numbers. Dude's going to put up like 30-point triple-doubles almost every night. But he doesn't play any defense. And so just because they have such an offensive electric Luka, why not add in a defensive Josh Richardson, you know? So I feel like it was a perfect fit. They pretty much had the exact same team as last year, and last year they were, I think, 7 seed. So they were 7 seed before, and then add in a really good defensive player to guard whoever the best ball handler is. That's got to bump them up a little. I'd say the lowest I can go for that is maybe 5, but I don't see 4 teams being better than this Mavericks team, so they're at number 4 for me. The 3, I have the Clippers. The reason I have the Clippers at 3 is because they got absolutely smacked. Absolutely smacked. I know that they beat the Lakers. That was good. I'll give them that. But let's be honest, the Lakers were playing really, really bad. I don't think that they could miss that many shots ever again. Like, they played really, really bad. And it just, and Anthony Davis was getting double teamed every single time that he touched the ball. So that, and then he would kick out to his open shooters, and they'd miss. So there wasn't really much that I don't know. That team was they were just unlucky that game. It happens. It happens. And I feel like everyone's going to be kind of like a citizen of the moment, and they are going to think that immediately the Clippers are just 1,000 times better than the Lakers, and I don't foresee that. So the Clippers, they did add in Serge Ibaka, which I think was a pretty good addition for their team. I do. I think it was better for the Lakers too. I think it was really good for both teams, what they did in the offseason. So I think that the Clippers did pretty well, but they never really changed anything, and they were the 2 seed, I think, last year. So I just don't foresee them. I don't know. They could be 2 again this year, and I could totally be wrong. I feel like they'll be 2 or 3 this year. The only reason I went with 3 instead is because they did just lose by 50 to the Mavericks without Kristaps Porzingis, and Luka only had like 24. So I don't have a whole lot of faith in them. But at number 2, I have the Nuggets. The Nuggets, as you guys know, they are regular season warriors. They really are. I love the Nuggets. I feel like even though they didn't really make a whole lot of moves, they still have Jamal Murray. They've got Michael Porter Jr., who now has another year under his belt. They still have Jokic, who's just phenomenal. They've got some pieces off the bench that can just do some good things for you. And like I said, they're regular season warriors. They won't win anything, at least not this year, I don't think. Even though they made the conference finals last year, I don't foresee that happening. I don't foresee them winning anything, I don't foresee them winning like a championship is what I meant. Excuse me. I don't foresee them winning the championship, but I do foresee them getting a high seed. So, and then obviously number 1, Lakers. Lakers actually, I feel like, added a lot of depth to their roster in regards to, they added in. So now they have LeBron pretty much running the 1 still, and now they have Dennis Schroeder, who is, in my opinion, he's a pretty good point guard. He can get you a decent amount of points, get you a decent amount of rebounds, decent amount of assists. He's a facilitator, he's a very good player. And then they have that spark plug off the bench now, Montrezl Harrell. They have Kuzma still. They now have this rising star in Talen Horton-Tucker. I feel like, I don't know. I just feel like they're just a very deep team now. I feel like they have more depth than they did last year, even though they lost 2 centers. Obviously, they have Marc Gasol, which is kind of But I mean, if Marc Gasol isn't doing good, put Anthony Davis at the 5, Montrezl at the 4. I mean, they just have so many options that they can run with that it just makes this team absolutely just incredible. And I think that they're definitely going to be the 1 seed. All right. So, sorry, if you guys can still hear that banging, I do apologize. The siding is still getting put on. They just finished like this back wall right here, and then they finished like, I guess it'd be that wall over there. So they have only got like that far side now. So I'd say probably after tomorrow, you guys won't be able to hear the banging anymore. But I want to get into the playoffs. I'm going to go round by round and pick a winner. I'm not going to say how many games because I don't know. I don't know. So I'm just gonna go with it, you know. Okay. So for the Western Conference, we're gonna start out with the Lakers versus the Rockets. I don't really need to say much. The Rockets are missing a lot of their team right now, and on top of that, James Harden and Christian Wood is not going to be able to beat LeBron and AD. It's not going to happen. LeBron could literally break his leg and still probably beat that team. So I don't foresee that happening. LeBron is definitely going to cakewalk through that. Next, we'll go with the 4 and 5 seed on the Western Conference side is the Mavericks versus the Suns. Or at least this is what I think. I genuinely, with all my heart, think that it'll go to 7. This series will go to 7 or 6, but I think that the Mavericks will win it. Luka is just that guy. Porzingis is just a hell of a player. I don't know. I feel like it's going to be a battle because Devin Booker is going to put up a lot of points. Chris Paul is going to do his thing, but I just don't feel like it'll be enough. So I got the Mavericks in 6 or 7. After that is the 2 and 7 seeds, which is the Nuggets and the Jazz. I have the Nuggets winning. I feel like it'll go 6 probably, but yeah, it'll be the Nuggets. I mean, it'll probably be a duel like it was last year, probably like 6 or 7 games, but I feel like the Nuggets are still going to pull it out in game 1. Then we have the 3 versus the 6 seeds. It's going to be the Clippers versus the Pelicans, which is going to be a very good matchup, I think. And I think it'll go probably 6 or 7 as well, but I feel like the Clippers are going to get it done. They've got to be coming for revenge. I mean, they literally choked last year. I mean, they have to be at least decent enough to try to get, out of the first round this year. I don't foresee them going out in the first round. I just don't. So now we're going to hop over to the Eastern side real quick just so I can go through the first round. First, the 1 and 8 seed, I have the Nets versus the Wizards, which will be interesting because it'll be Kevin Durant versus Westbrook, but Nets will win. Nets will win in 5, I think. KD and Kyrie is just going to be way too powerful. It will be. There's not really too much I need to say about that. The Wizards have a very good, they have a good point guard, you have a good shooting guard, but other than that, they don't really have a, super team roster, so that's where they're going to sit for me. 4 and 5 seeds for this is the Celtics and Raptors, which went to 7 games in the last year's postseason, which I would love to see again, but I feel like it'll be Celtics again, but I feel like it'll be in 6 games this time. Just for the mere fact that the young Celtics players have gotten better, and all the Raptors players added on another year to their resume. I just don't feel like I don't see them making it out of the first round. They might, just because of their leadership, they might, but I feel like it'll be the Celtics. Next is the 2 and 7 seed, so the 76ers and the Heat. I feel like 76ers are going to win this. Like I said, I wanted to put 76ers at 1, but I knew that the Nets, it's the Nets. I can't put them any lower than 1. But 76ers I feel like are going to win in probably 5 games. I feel like Jimmy Butler will have a historic performance again and take 1 game, and then that's going to be it. I feel like the 76ers are going to mesh very well this year. I don't foresee them being a bad team whatsoever. So then after that, the 3 and 6 seeds, So I had the Bucks and the Hawks. This one could genuinely be interesting. I think it'll go to 6 or 7 games, but I think that the Bucks are going to win. As much as I would love to see the Hawks win out in the first round against the Bucks, I genuinely feel like it'll be the Bucks that take it in the first round, just because of Giannis. I mean, no one's going to be able to stop Giannis. He's going to put up 30 every night, and so unless if every single Hawks player is cooking, like if Trae Young can somehow score 35, 40 points on Drew Holiday, unless if that happens, I don't think that they'll get out of that first round. So, second round, I have here for the Western side, I have the Lakers and I have the Mavericks. I do feel like it'll be a 5 or 6 game series. Maybe 7, but the Lakers will win. The Lakers will win it. They'll make it to the conference finals. They're just not going to be enough. As good as the Mavericks are going to be, they're not going to be good enough to beat LeBron and Anthony Davis. They're not. Luka's a great player, but like I said, he doesn't really have a whole lot of defense. So who's going to stop LeBron on that team? You put Porzingis on him, okay. Well, now who's going to guard Anthony Davis? So I don't see it. I don't see it. From there, we had the Nuggets and the Clippers. Yes, Nuggets and Clippers. I think that... I don't know. I don't think that the Clippers are going to let the Nuggets beat them again. They might, but I just don't see it happening. I don't. Yeah. I feel like. Yeah, I'm just going to say it. Clippers in 6 or 7 for sure. It'll go deep. It'll be a deep series, but it'll be Clippers in 6 or 7. On the other side of things, let's see. So the Nets or the Celtics. It's going to be the Nets and the Celtics in the second round of the Eastern Conference. I feel like the Nets will win, but I feel like this one's going to be actually pretty close. I mean, if you think about it, right, you put Jaylen Brown or Marcus Smart on Kyrie, that's going to disrupt him a little bit. It won't be able to hold him, but it'll disrupt him a little bit. And then add in like Tatum basically squaring off against Durant. Like, that's kind of, I mean, I'd say it's pretty even. It's just a matter of, I think that the bench is a little bit deeper on the Nets than it is on the Celtics. So I have the Nets, but I feel like it'll be probably 5 or 6 games. Or I think it'll be 6 or 7 games. I think I'm going to go with 6, but I feel like it'll be deep into the series for sure. From there, I have 76ers versus the Bucks. I think 76ers are going to win. Just being completely honest, like I said, 76ers mesh really well in my opinion, I think, this year. And I don't foresee them losing to the Bucks. Giannis has never been able to get it done in the playoffs, and until he does, I mean, they're a very big roster, the 76ers are. So if everyone just sits in the paint and makes Giannis shoot, and then they get out on transition, they have shooters now, the 76ers do, I mean, it'll be easy. I mean, I don't know. I foresee the 76ers winning in a sizable margin, probably 5 games. So, Eastern side. I have Lakers versus Clippers, just as everyone had thought. I got Lakers. I don't think that the Lakers are going to lose to the Clippers. I feel like, everyone's kind of prisoner of the moment. The Clippers beat them game 1, etc., etc. But that's what we all said last year, too. Vegas had the Lakers losing to the Clippers literally all season long. So I don't foresee that happening. I don't think it'll happen. I think that the Lakers will probably win in 6 or 7 games. I think it'll be a very close series, but I do think that the Lakers will close it out. On the Eastern side of things, I have Nets versus the 76ers. Now, this one is very tough for me. It just is, because I think that the 76ers have a very good defensive team. Ben Simmons is honestly a very good on-ball defender, even though he's 6'10". They have, I guess, Seth Curry is not necessarily a great defender, but they have Danny Green, who's a very good perimeter defender. They have Embiid, who can protect the paint. They have, oh my God, I'm drawing a blank. But I know that they have some other defensive players on that team who are actually pretty good. So I don't foresee. I mean, it'll be tough. But I got to go Nets. I mean, it's Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving on the same team. Like, that's a scary sight. So I think it'll be Nets. I think it'll be in probably 6 games. I feel like, yeah, it'll be 6. I don't think it'll go 7, because if it does, I mean, Nets are for sure going to win it then. Just because it's Kevin Durant and Kyrie. They're definitely going to win in that 7th game. So then it's going to be the Lakers versus the Nets in the finals. And I think this one was tough. I had to sit and ponder it for a while. I had to sit there and think about everything. But I've got the Lakers. I think that the Lakers will win in 6 or 7 games. It'll definitely go 6 or 7, and from there, I don't know. I feel like even though KD, let's be honest, KD is probably going to have his way on Anthony Davis in regards to, he's a lot more shifty, he's a lot more quick than Anthony Davis. He can kind of score on the perimeter, like, pretty well. And Anthony Davis, even though he can guard the perimeter, he's not like a lockdown perimeter defender. But let's flip that for a second, because Anthony Davis is going to have his way on Kevin Durant on the inside. Kevin Durant is a twig, and Anthony Davis is a big boy. He is going to score on the interior probably every single play, every other play. He is going to have his way inside. It's going to be a shootout between those two 100%. And on top of that, LeBron's not going to be able to guard Kyrie Irving. I mean, they probably won't even put him on Kyrie Irving. They'll probably put Schroeder on him, more than likely. But Kyrie's not going to be able to guard LeBron. I mean, he's just not. LeBron's just a man down there. And I don't think the Nets would have anyone that would truly be able to guard LeBron. Maybe Taurean Prince. Maybe, because I don't think Joe Harris could guard him. Or at least, I mean, maybe, but I don't foresee it happening. I just don't. Yeah, I can't put him any higher, or I just can't see a scenario where the Nets come out on top unless they literally drop like over 120, maybe even more than that. I'd say that Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant have to combine for 80 to 90 points every single night in order for them to win. In order to win the series. Maybe that's a little much. Maybe 70 to 80. But still, I mean, to win the series, they're going to have to score a lot. They're going to have to actually be able to stop AD and LeBron, which is going to be a very, very tough task. And then on top of that, they still have Trez, they still have Schroeder. They still have a lot of pieces, so I don't see it happening. I just don't see it happening. So that is going to be my prediction video for you guys. If you guys did enjoy it, make sure you guys like and subscribe and turn on that notification bell so you guys know whenever I post. If there is anything that you disagreed on, please let me know down below. I would love to figure out what your guys' hear your guys' opinions on it. If you guys thought that was honestly a very bad list, I'd love to hear that. And I'd love to hear what you guys would put. And so make sure you guys comment down below. But this is King Sanders signing out. Peace.